wait and we can turn on the screen capture so we can all see the questions. And this thing will stay working this time. I hope so. Okay, so we'll switch the CD 230 or over and standby. Okay, so let's go back to the questions now, guys. Now we got this thing working enough that we can actually see each other. Let's see. No screen. There we go. Now switch over to chat. Okay, now what we got is a big pile of noisy mess. Okay, now it's fine. Yes, I agree with you. It turns out that the iPhone was interfering with part of the system, but not entirely all of it though, because we did have a problem with a graphic equalizer which has bad capacitors in it, and it was creating even more noise than the phone was. And so we temporarily removed the bypass or the graphic equalizer from the system. But after we're done, we're going to have to put everything back to normal, because it looks, like I said, like Dr. Frankenstein's laboratory. You got cords dripping all over the place, wiring coming out of the wall, everything, and it's just a real mess. So at this point, it's working. At least that's the key piece. Right. It's working now, but for how long? Let me just check to see if we're still going out live. Yeah, we are. Okay, good. So when TNCC wants to be called at 8 o'clock tonight, I have to turn that snap, crackle, and pop on so that he can hear him in his questions. Even though we have the microphone pointed, the other microphone pointed at the phone, there's no guarantee that the phone is going to be able to pick him up. And so that's where things just get kind of ugly. And so I decided to explain that to you. Yes, he's going to be on tonight at 8 o'clock. Well, that's because the USB is digital, and like I said, a lot of this equipment is old with cheap, crappy Chinesium cables that just don't always make good connections. I'm talking about the unshielded ones. They're shielded, but the quality of the braid is pretty lousy. Whereas the cords that I use for the microphones and stuff are professional balance stick cellular cables. The microphone or the cables going into the Mac is just cheap Chinesium unbalanced 2-pin jacks, TS jacks on them. So it really sounds lousy in the wrong situations. And I hope that one day, if I did check out your grant information, by the way, and I didn't see anything about small business grants. What I might need to do is contact Linda McMahon at the Small Business Administration and see if she can, with a business plan, which should be easy enough to write, considering that my channel has been on the air for about over 5 years. I should be able to give her enough information to explain how I want to take this channel into an income-bearing instrument. Even though we know that YouTube is not really the best thing for making a living. Nope, it's not, but it's what Michelle can do. But Michelle's studio is ancient. Yeah, it's ancient. It is ancient. And interestingly enough, the Behringer's USB output, I hardly ever used that. I used to disconnect it straight into the line-in jack like I did with the M68. But remember I mentioned one time earlier about ground loop issues and with interference issues and everything else. And the wiring is like hanging all over the apartment. So sometimes it's like playing electrical Russian roulette over here. You never know what you're going to get. One day you're going to have a good old-fashioned conflagration. That's one thing I don't want. Give me that good old conflagration. No thanks. That's the last thing I want is on fire. And it's very possible with all the wires are routed through this place. Never mind the wire sitting in the wall from 100-plus-year-old cables, which you have no control over. Right. Um, so tonight, anyway, we're going to talk about something about the YouTube, since that is obviously become the main topic. So let's go to the latest news from YouTube News, or from Google News for YouTube, since I'm in here. So let me switch over to that screen. And where is it? Down there. Got it. Okay. So let's go to some news. Let's do some news right now, since I got your attention anyway. The people over there at Susan Wojcicki is having a bit of a quagmire because of Logan Paul's latest antics. She is so fit to be tied with him. And the reason is because even though he was temporarily demonetized, he's still doing his pranks. However, as you will see from looking at the latest news articles here from Google's own news sources, at least you can say I don't use the mainstream media once in a while. If I can get to the page. Come on, let's go. Let's see here. You really should get the things up so you can read things. Okay. What will it take for YouTube to kick off Logan Paul? Now, why would he want to do that, you're asking? Okay. YouTube detains how it will punish creators by harming the community. And I want to talk about this one first. If I my cursor, there it is. It says here in this article. Give me a second to load here. Okay, so I'll read it to you because it'll be easy for you. Okay. YouTube has this afternoon detailed new policy changes going into effect after the latest controversy featuring YouTube creator Logan Paul, who has advertising temporarily suspended on his account today over videos featuring the abuse of dead animals. YouTube has been reportedly working on these policy guidelines since the start of the year, as CEO Susan Wojcicki said earlier this month that one of her company's goals in 2018 was to create clear policies to punish creators who do something egregious that causes significant harm to the community at large. The changes are straightforward. YouTube says it reserves the right to strip a channel of my ability to serve ads and its access to premium monetization programs like Google Preferred and its YouTube Partner Program, as well as the right to cease. I'm going to take headphones off because they just drive me nuts. Okay. Let's see what we're saying. Is its right to cease recommending a channel's videos across its network if that channel proves harmful to the broader YouTube community. YouTube describes its community as, quote, is including, quote, advertisers, the media industry, and most importantly, the general public. It's not clear what exactly where its definition of harmful is in these cases, but it seems that if YouTube will take cues from both the greater YouTube community and the general public, more bluntly, YouTube, the Google-owned video site has always held these powers over the channel owners as a platform-owning tech company. However, YouTube has been relatively hands-off over the years as it ballooned into one of the largest media destinations in the internet. Largely in part thanks to the symbiotic relationship it has with creators, which share in YouTube's ad revenues. The company's long-standing approach, combined with recent sea changes in public sentiment towards Silicon Valley and its responsibilities to police its platform, has resulted in a reckoning. Offensive and immature creators. Notice that it says in the article, offensive and immature. This comes from TheVerge.com, by the way. Like Paul, and to a less extent, YouTube's Felix, PewDiePie, KG Berg are now forcing the company to make tough decisions on what types of content and off-site and on-video behaviors it deems unacceptable. These new changes introduced today are more transparently codify YouTube's newer, more strict approach against behaviors the company feels harmful and to reputation. It makes all YouTube look lazily unregulated. What is the policies you're talking about? Well, this is what said. We have long had a community guidelines that act as rules of the road for what creators can share on our platform, and a set of ad-friendly guidelines for what they can monetize. We also have a system of strikes we use to enforce those guidelines, which can ultimately result in the channel's termination, writes Ariel Barden, YouTube's Vice President of Product Management, in a blog post. But in rare instances, we need a broader set of tools at our disposal that can be used more quickly and effectively than the current system of guidelines and strikes. In no certain terms, Barton describes, without even naming Paul, the damage that can be dealt by having a large, immensely popular channel acting without any. Okay, I'm not going to read the rest of this. We're going to cover this. Let's just go what they want to do for changes here. Okay, okay, here's what it says here about. So what are the guidelines they suggested? Well, they want to block or have the right to take away or give individual channels the right to have the videos monetized or not. Gee, that would be nice, because the innocent bystanding channels such as mine, which have never broken the rules in any way, have always kind of wondered why people like PewDiePie and Logan Paul, which are part of the 5% group that YouTube likes to talk so much about, are allowed to get away with so much, and yet the little guys, namely me and others, are just kind of getting the screws. Now, what they want to do is, they originally punished Logan Paul. Then Logan Paul comes back after he kind of said he mended his ways, and then he comes back and starts tasering dead rats and other shock material. However, another article points out that YouTube's own trending page seems to award content creators that do things that are designed to excite views, even shock behavior, which is where the problem starts, because now shock behavior is where all the problem starts. So like I said tonight, we're going to cover, you asked me about a topic, this is the topic, and I want to get your own opinions in it. I'm also going to see if I can get Susan Wojcicki to actually come on YouTube as a guest, preferably once we get all the equipment back online the way it's supposed to be, and have her talk to me in an interview and see if we can figure out what they should really be doing to fix the problem. Makes sense. But will they do anything? I don't know. Okay, well, it's almost time for me to call TNCC. It's almost time. Oh, yeah. So for those of you guys who are find out interesting about the noise, Ruben, I'm going to try to keep the noise down as much as I can. But the whole point of what they're trying to say is that now they're beginning to realize that even though they wanted to take all the small fries out of the YouTube Partner Program, it turns out that the small fries are not the problem. It's the big guys. The big guys are the ones, including the fake acid attacker who's throwing water at people and claiming it's acid in London, has angered YouTube as well. That, in PewDiePie's comments, and also Logan Paul's antics, has really, really hurt the YouTube community, especially the little guys. And I want to ask all of you that are watching, which I think there's a few of you still left, what you guys think about that. What do you think that YouTube should do to help solve the problem? I'd like to send Susan Wojcicki our own input from you guys on what we should do to fix this problem, because I think that as a CEO, I think she kind of isn't quite aware of what's going on with YouTube as a user, because she's kind of insulated from that. So I'm listening to your ideas. As long as our systems keeps working, we can still share dialogue, and that's what I want to do. So you guys have any suggestions of how YouTube should fix the quote bad actors, as they call them? Here's an interesting note to remember, guys. They upload over 300 hours a minute. 300 hours of videos every minute. clearly it's not going to be feasible, practical to have everybody uh, sit there and watch 300 hours of videos in a single minute. They don't have enough staff. In fact, it was really seriously cut into YouTube's bottom line to do that. So, as far as the Olympics go, I haven't actually been keeping up with the Olympics. No. Um, but so now we got the sound working enough. Let's talk about things. Let's see, what can we do? Um, and that's a great question for TNCC. Even though he's actually interviewing me, Michelle, he's not going to be sitting there taking questions from everybody else. Right. That's very true. Okay. So, anyway, so that's the reason I wanted to share that article with you. And unfortunately, I think some people probably think that all the work that I'm doing to create this content is a boondoggle. And I'm really sorry about all the technical problems. But without the other mixer online, we really don't have access to the tools that we had, and it's really, really making it difficult to do things the right way. And our backup equipment is old and crufty, and it's not really working as well as it could work, and it's creating a real problem for everybody. So if you guys have any questions, I see we have probably nobody. Yeah, we probably don't. Yeah, it would be nice if we could get some people to stick around. Well, having to listen to buzzing, humming, screaming, howling audio gear isn't exactly entertaining. According to what their YouTube's trending video system does, that's exactly the kind of content that does get trending. Yeah, well, good for YouTube, but not really for me. Oh, not for me. So, let's see. And, okay, alright. Let's have a 5 minutes of the plot. Okay, I'm already returning this group because I'm a Logan platform. I'm not. I really never followed him. I never really knew him. I certainly have heard of PewDiePie thanks to InfoWars, but I never really got into following Logan Paul. Now, the thing is we need to get this thing working for TNCC. Oh, God. Oh, do we have to do this? Yeah. Ah, you dirty sorry. Do you want to just let me leave the microphone pointed at this other one, and then that way you can see if we can hear the sound instead of go through plugging all those cords in and go over again? I guess so. Let's see. Let's see. We can get him in here now. So, all right. Set this thing. Okay. It's gonna turn the thing to silent. I don't want to get disturbed by everybody here. So let's set this up again the way we need to set it for tonight. This is gonna suck. Yeah, well, unfortunately I can't do much about that, can I? No. Let's see. Okay, I got it. Wait a minute, I have comments on here. Okay. Okay, so let's try calling him now. We'll just call him through the phone here. Okay. It's obviously not ready right now, so. And. Okay, so. You gotta keep, the thing is, it irritates me to no end, is getting this equipment interface. It's just not. It's just so ugly. That's the only thing about when when you got as much old stuff as I got. It's getting everything to interface is an easy job. Gotta make sure the tone generator is toning. I'll do that right now. Set the thing to 10 kilohertz tone again. Alright, so I'm gonna get the sound that is always uploaded. Oh, wait. Right. Okay, so it sounds working. So let's try calling them again. Oh boy, this is awful. Dude, nasty! I know. Oh my god, this is disgusting. Jesus Christ! Oh my god! That thing's so friggin' loud. Michelle, check your gain. Oh my god, that thing's enough to blow my ears in. Bring it down to about. There? Try that, yeah. Let's see if that works now. Turn on the tone generator. Okay. Okay. That sounds promising. Okay, guys. I think we have this working here now. Alright, so anyway, while we're waiting for that magic moment, let's switch back to the questions. Okay. Okay, so let me try to reach him now. He said for me to call him about 5 minutes to, and I connected things back up like I did. We'll turn on the preamp. It's on. Okay. And then I gotta go ahead and, well, you're not the only one who's curious to hear the interview, so am I. As soon as I tried calling him already and he didn't answer. So we gotta try again. We gotta try again. Oh boy. So let's try again. Still ringing. Yeah, still ringing. Why don't you just use a type movement like Rupert is? Well, right now, unfortunately, I explained to you, TNCC, is that the problem that we're having is that Google Hangouts is all messed up. No shit. So every time I try to connect, as you remember, TNCC, on the Google Hangouts in Chrome, you could see me and hear me. I could see your screen, but I could not hear you at all. Because they changed something in their software. And the only way that seems to work is to use their phone. But to use the phone, in order for me to be able to hear you clearly and the audience to be able to hear you clearly, well, I understand that, guys. I'm working on it. Right now, I still got the phone plugged in right now so I can hear. I turned it down a bit because there was a little bit too much noise. But the most important thing is we got to get the people connected in. Wish we could get our phone system connected into this thing. Yeah, well, that'll probably just sound just as atrociously nasty, if not worse, because of the fact that it needs to have a totally separate receive and transmit. That's what we need the FX Sun connection for, but that's not an option here right now. So we're going to try to get things working. And TNCC, we're going to try calling you in about right now. So let's see if we can get this thing through. Oh, that's video. Oh, that's okay. I can still. Nothing. He's not answering. Try again. Alright, we're trying to call you to TNCC. TNCC, please pick up the damn phone. I'm on your... Okay. Okay, he didn't answer, so we have to wait a little bit longer to see if he connects in. So anyway, guys, right now I got this thing as best as it's gonna get, and it's a, like I said, it's a wiring boondoggle, and it's a mess. And it's not gonna get any better than this, guys. There's so many loose connections because of cheap RCA cables that are made by workers that really don't know how to make a good serious cable with proper shielding. Lousy connectors on them. That's a nice work loose from the plug holes. Cables that are not even quite up to our modern specifications. Well, actually, more like your jacks are not made up to modern specifications. Well, clearly something in both areas. Right, so TNCC, go to your Google Hangouts individual app, please, and look, you could send a link this way, couldn't you? What? You could send a link this way? Oh boy. No, that really doesn't work as well. Let me just use the other end here. Because I know that goes straight into the headphone jack. Okay. Alright, so what you do is when you got your Hangout set up, your personal Hangouts, not Hangouts on Air. If you can use Hangouts on Air, you can do that too. But you already see I already sent you a link on Lumi Central link, more precisely. I called you. You was trying to call me, trying to call you. Right, so, and I will be honest, Michelle, is you can't stay offline indefinitely, so you don't have a choice. You gotta keep the show on the air somehow. Well, we can use the built-in microphone on the Mac. Yeah. But that's great if I'm not doing a live stream with phone calls and everything else coming into the system. And that's where we're running into a bit of a problem right now. So the reason why I wanted to redo this is because, like several pointed out, I mistakenly did not answer all the questions. Yeah, I know, I'm going to. And so what's going on is that we sent the mixer back. They received it at the shop. They're doing whatever they're going to do to send it to Behringer to find out what happened to the left VU meter and the power LED. And at the same time, Michele had to basically cobble together a whole bunch of cables to make everything work. And she's got loose connections and static somewhere in the system. It's more noticeable when you plug in the iPhone, which I don't think is helping with shielding. So what's going on is right now that's the only way we can connect in anything. We can't even connect in our phone switch. Alright, well, I'll page you again. Here we go. Okay, I just connected you. To NCC, you can answer your phone, please. Oh, you're saying you have problems? Okay. Alright, so I tried to post a link, chat won't let me. Well, that's because the only way you're gonna be able to page chat is I can page you. Bloom, what? Please don't get everything all confused. Right now, we're just trying to get this one interview in this, right? We're going through all this baloney. If we didn't have to go through all this much work, it would have been very simple. Basically, can you show people how you're doing this? I can show, yeah. Let me switch over to the camera so you can see how we're doing with the wiring here, okay? If that system doesn't screw up on me again. Let's see. Switch this over to cup into the other picture. Okay, now this is the iPhone. This is the iRig pre-cable that's connected into the other mixer. And then what happens is when Lumi tries to call him using the regular Hangouts app, his phone rings on his app. For some reason he's not answering the call. As you said, Ruben, he said that he might be with us a little later on. But obviously, once he answers, I can press the answer button, and then Lumi can chat. Right. So that's the way it works. So now, I guess this still, going back to my original questions. What would you suggest to Susan Wojcicki for changes to deal with the issues that YouTube is running into right now? And, you know, how should YouTube fix the problem? I think given right now what's going on, I think YouTube's solution is very simple. They're going to have to come up with a better way of thinking about the problem because the way they're doing it is kind of stupid. I'm going to switch this over to put this camera background here so keep this going. Keep this camera. Please notes. Okay. Well, I wasn't sure if you heard me. I wasn't sure if you heard us at all. So Michele just tried to call you because she didn't know if you were having the same problem with your ringer on your desktop that we were having with our desktop, where we can't even hear people calling our desktop sessions. That's the reason why she called you so often, was she would make sure that you at least had a chance to see the accept or decline. And so just type here on the screen when you're ready and watching your Hangouts so that we can see if, when you say on the text screen here that you're sitting at the computer ready, I will try calling you again using the phone app. Great. Okay, now, but back to the main topic of Susan Wojcicki. I think that she needs to talk to more of us. Maybe have like a group of people, focus group, where maybe she could talk to the YouTubers in the lower levels of the trenches, not just the high level YouTubers, the 5%ers that make them the most amount of ad revenue. Because if you got people that on a high level that are causing potential harm, advertisers are going to walk away, and then YouTube is going to go bankrupt because their advertising revenue is what keeps their servers running, and that's an issue to consider. If she puts too much of a heavy hand on things, I think she's going to potentially break the system. Casey Nista already has posted a video, but I can't post the link. It's Susan and another bug bag at Casey Neistat. Who's that? I can't post the link at Susan and another big bug at YouTube. Okay. Right. Well, probably because Sue Wojcicki's not necessarily listening to her voicemail. Or she's not reading her email or Twitter account. I don't know. But obviously, the whole system is a giant clusterfuck. I mean, the whole thing is a mess. From my side of the system to YouTube's policy changes that may potentially be the end of the system as we know it, to the okay. Well, I think okay, here's a phone call. Answer it. Go ahead, caller, on the air. How you doing, TNCC?
Hello, Michelle. How are you doing?
I apologize for calling you so much, but me and Lumi have been trying to reach you because of the system. We're having problems all over the place. We got our iPhone connected into the system so that we can at least have the conversation with you.
I see.
And that's why everything sounds like shit. No kidding. It was the easiest way to do it. Yeah.
I believe there may be some misunderstanding. I was not planning on interviewing you tonight, as I'm actually a little bit tired out after yesterday's interview. I thought we were just going to have a general conversation.
Well, I remember that you had some other questions, and then I heard them in the replay, and I never answered them, and I said to myself, really, I should try to answer his questions so I could hear them, so I'm going to try to answer your questions. And also, since we got this chant, okay, I can hear you both tones good, that's good. So Ruben, he can hear us clearly, excellent. So the first question you asked me, I think you said, did my parents know me indirectly? Yeah, he's really interviewing me, so why don't you let me answer the questions and you just so quietly just keep your pie hole shut. Okay, bye.
Yes, that's an idea there. So, earlier you said you did not want to talk with Brian Kay in the Hangouts. I'm curious as to why that is.
Excuse me?
Earlier you said that you did not want to speak with Brian Kay. During our Google Hangouts, I asked you to invite him, and you said no.
Well, like you said, this was supposed to be an interview between me and you, and...
Well, see, that's where we're mistaken, because I told you earlier that I'd be willing to come on and chat with you. I'm not looking to do a full-on interview. I haven't prepared anything. I gave most of my Lumi questions yesterday, and unfortunately, I think most of those went unanswered.
Okay.
But, I mean, we can talk about Lumi if you'd like to talk about Lumi, but I'm just letting you know I don't have anything written down.
Well, I know that I watched with Michelle some of the videos on your channel, and a few of them they gave us both a chuckle, especially the introduction one, which we thought was kind of interesting. but like a couple other people pointed out, they thought that the simulated voice you had in the narration was a little bit, I don't know how to describe it. Didn't give good vibes. Okay, I guess that's what I can think of.
Similar to your voice? Yes, I know.
Yeah, I went to your channel, I watched the video, and I shared it with Lumi, and I also shared it with my audience on my channel and my 2018 playlist, so you can see it there too.
Wonderful. Very wonderful. And what did you think? How did I do with the brief introduction to MicheleMarieDalene?
Well, 30 minutes is a little more than a brief introduction, but it kind of answered a lot of questions at the same time, so I guess that's what counts.
You see, in my opinion, when people first stumble on your channel, they don't know what to think, and the first impression is very important. And sending somebody off with a little bit of background knowledge into some of the things you say and what they might mean, things like that, the characters on your show, it just gives you a better idea of what's going on rather than being so confusing. I do know some of those facts I stated in there have since been they have been, some things might have been incorrect, such as, I thought initially you became the North American Snow Queen because of Disney's Frozen. I didn't realize it was the movie the movie.
Well, Disney's Frozen didn't come out until around 2014, I think.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I thought that's when you became the Snow Queen, but it appears that
the North American
it was actually a movie from the 90s that inspired you to become the Snow Queen.
There's a couple Snow Queen movies. The one that is best known is the one from Bridget Fonda, which is on Hallmark Entertainment, which is a 3-hour movie. That's where I first was introduced to the Snow Queen character. Right. And then I watched the Finnish one from Finland, called Lumi Couture, which is pretty cool, in Finnish, by the way. Michelle Michelle got a crash course in Finnish. She still didn't understand all the words. I understood the story from the history of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tale, which does not follow exactly by the fairy tale. And then I watched another Snow Queen epic from Russia from 1962, again in the original Russian and in English overdubbing. And I have a collection of Snow Queen movies and things on my hard drive in here of all kinds of eras. So.
Wonderful. So, one thing we've never gotten a chance to talk about, but is a big deal to me, is another person on your show named Rhonda. I believe she's your strong arm. Are you familiar with Rhonda Church?
Rhonda Church. What do you want to know about
Yes,
her?
we've never gotten to speak about her, and I thought, well, how good would that be to get some information on Rhonda? Because the only information I was able to dig up on her pertained to her political beliefs, the party that I guess she's a part of, which was quite a surprise to me. I thought the Nazis were gone long ago. And basically her just blocking people. That's about all we know about Rhonda. So maybe if you shed some light on Rhonda and made her more of a human being, showed some of her flaws, some of her characteristics, maybe people would be quicker to accept her.
Well, I was introduced to Rhonda Church because of the fact that she's friends with Billy Joe Baxter, which Michelle was friends with Billy Joe Baxter on Facebook.
Yes.
And so Rhonda Church became a mutual friend of both Michelle and Billy Joe Baxter. And so she started watching Michelle's videos on YouTube from the links that she would put up on Facebook. And Michelle decided to contact her privately, and they started to talk about things. And one of the things that Rhonda was very heavy about Michelle was the fact is that she was doing all this pretty much on a shoestring, even though she's multiply handicapped. And Michelle is reaching out and communicating with people. Right. Exactly.
How much did Rhonda pay when she purchased the channel? And when was the the purchase official?
Nobody purchased the channel. That's the part of it that gets me really, really angry. Nobody purchased the channel. I am not part of a multi-channel distribution network. This is just my channel, and my Welcome to the World channel is my second channel. And
oh, that's a surprise to me. I was informed that the channel is owned by a Rhonda church, but no kidding. She doesn't own the channel, huh?
No, she doesn't. She has her own channel, but she doesn't actually produce any content on it. I don't know if she has anything in her playlist either.
Where do you suppose that idea of her owning the channel came from? Do you think maybe she told somebody she owned the channel?
No.
No.
No, I think people came up with the idea because I had her as a moderator on the channel to help me keep an eye on things, because as you can see, being the wizard behind the curtain and trying to keep up with all the plugs and wires and everything else, and then trying to read the chats and trying to handle guests when they're in the studio, it takes a lot of resources to do that. It sure does.
Yes, it does, and sometimes things do go awry. We all know that. And
yeah, for example, today you got at least 5 minutes moment of silence. Yep. Because Michelle's audio cables, she tried to route some cables around to fix the sound problem that sounded like Rice Krispies who had been eating crack cocaine, and guess what? It didn't really make it sound much better, and then she ended up basically knocking the sound cable out, which should have been left plugged in, because she unplugged the wrong cord. And then she had to route that cable to where the other plug goes to see if we can get the sound back.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found out the reason why it sounds like Snack Crackle Pop in the morning is because of the fact that we have an issue with the interference from the cell phone is causing back through the iRig Pre back into the mixer's input stage.
I think you might have too much equipment, Michelle. I'm simply using a laptop right now. I don't even have a microphone. I'm using what's built in on my laptop, and honestly, on my end, when I put up the videos, it tends to sound a lot better than on your end. I think you just might simply have too much equipment. You're just doing too many advanced things that are kind of pointless.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree with that, but the thing is that, Michelle and I have been talking about this too. It's like Michelle likes to have the ability to use all of her microphones on the console. But right now the console is an old mixer from the 1960s. So it doesn't have hookups for all like the phone connections. It doesn't have the hookups for multiple inputs.
Or maybe the simpler microphone that's on a computer would make way to go, because clearly the advanced microphone causing you some serious technical difficulties.
Yeah, well, right now we can switch the
built-in. Michelle.
We can switch to the built-in
Did you mute
IMAX.
Yourself again?
Okay, I was going to say we can switch to the built-in IMAX microphone for the next live stream, because that would be fine. It's just going to be me and Lumi. But obviously, we can't use a lavalier microphone. We won't be able to use any of the other microphones, because they don't have any other way to connect in except through analog input.
Yes, wonderful. All right, Michelle, can you hear me?
What's that? I hear somebody in the background. Who is that?
This is exactly what I was hoping for.
Oh, okay.
Can you hear me, Michelle?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're coming in and out. It sounds like you're having some connection issues.
Well, there's something wrong with the iRig Pre. It's plugged in all the way. Oh, the microphone keeps my lapel microphone keeps clipping around my clothes. That's why. Okay, is that better now? How about that?
That's much better, Michelle.
Well,
the question I was going to ask you is about recently. You had the opportunity at really gaining some traction with your career. You had a live stream where you had over 100 people on at once, which is honestly amazing for such a small-time channel like yourself. It's truly mind-boggling.
Right, yeah.
And in fact, I bought advertisements shortly before that for your live stream, advertising it, trying to get the right kind of people into the stream. on related channels to use. And unfortunately, that money went wasted because yourself and Rhonda banned everybody, including your own moderators. Looking
Well,
back on that day,
I
do you
was
from that?
all right. Well, the reason why it was is first, so we were trying to keep an eye on things because some of the allegations that were being said were getting way bit more than people can keep up with, like being called a racist, being called all these horrible things, and that's very hurtful. Considering the fact that I'm not a racist at all, and so Rhonda and I discussed it. We thought the best thing to do was to block all the troublemakers. But then, after talking to a few other YouTube channels, I said, well, maybe that's not the best choice because the troublemakers are also, you're probably your most vocal audience of all. So if you try to block your troublemakers, what you're going to do is they're going to go tell their friends, and their friends are going to tell their friends, and next thing you know it, your audience is going to drop like flies. And that's what happened, and that's where me and Rhonda had to kind of reassess the situation and say, you know what, let's not do that anymore because that creates a really bad feeling for the audience.
And so, looking back on it, how do you feel in retrospect being at such a high place and so quickly pretty much losing almost it all? Besides the handful that are true fans of this of your series there, for the most part, everybody that we gained on is gone now, due to the blocking and due to the mistreatment and all sorts of things that was going on. I remember Ed had an anti-homophobic rant where he said some pretty awful stuff, and then he was on. I believe the next night you had him on after saying you weren't going to have him back on. In retrospect, looking back on it,
the only reason why Ed said half that stuff he said was because he was just getting fed up as everybody else was.
Right, but we could all make excuses for this and that, but realistically, what Ed did there was essentially entertainment suicide. He literally tried to take down your show in one fell swoop. If I'm not mistaken, you were voted the worst human being of 2017 by LGBTQT magazine in Seattle.
What's that?
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
He got me in the news. I remember I read several articles about your channel specifically about that rant. It really blew up, and then
Ruben has a question.
A little foolish to immediately have him back on, don't you think?
Okay, well, Ruben has a question. He says, who is the Snow Queen? Well, the Snow Queen originally is based on a Nordic lore. Originally, the Hans Christian Andersen turned into a fairy tale called the Snow Queen. It was released around, I think, 1860s. It's one of his longest fairy tales. It is probably one of his better known fairy tales. And that's where the story of the Snow Queen comes from. It comes originally from Nordic lore. She's the queen of the frost giants, basically. Yeah, something like that. But as far as my channel goes, I want to get back to that. Right now, I just checked the channel status. It's kind of still holding its own. Let me click on that page right now, and I've got to get back to Ruben afterwards here because I don't want to try to ignore everybody. I just want to get the statistics. Stupid cursor. Right now we have. Let's see. Let's gotta get to that screen here. We have 223 subscribers. We were up to 225 and then 228. And then do you
mind broadcasting to everyone so that I can see what you're seeing?
Okay, sure. I just sent that screen on there now. I think you should see the screen now. Which is my top.
I don't.
Alright. Well, it's on here. Yeah, it's always.
I believe you. All I see is Lumi's icon.
Okay, now you see it. Good. Okay, let's check the sound at the same time. Okay. Yeah, that's the channel there. That's the top screen here.
Press the button that makes you present to everyone, Michelle, because all I see is your little icon.
Okay. I'll give it a few seconds to catch up. It shows right now, it shows my YouTube dashboard page. And that's coming up on the network. And you will see me quickly jumped into Flash FMLE or Adobe FMLE, and then I switched over to this page. So on the top of the page, it's my dashboard. You see I have a total of 100,616 views, 223 subscribers. Total minutes viewed in the last 28 days is 12,667. Views of 3,150. Subscribers is +4. You have estimated revenue of $3.18. You see that now on the screen?
No, I don't see it on the screen, Michelle.
What do you see?
Just your icon. That's all I see.
Just
a picture of you.
You know, it's right. Okay, what you do is go over to the YouTube page, the chat, the regular chat page. You'll see it there, because I see what you're saying. Of course,
but I'm in the middle of a Google Hangout section with you. Can't you just show me what you're showing everybody else?
Right. Right now, what's going on is we're using the phone. I'm gonna turn on the camera here so you can see us. Okay, so now I'm just turning on the camera. You can see me here in the corner here, and you can see that. Let's see if I can switch this so you can see me now.
You know what? This angle is just fine. Just keep it just like that. Just keep it on your face, just like that. I want to see your reactions to everything.
Okay. Well, my problem is that the phone's gonna be. Can
you go a little bit closer? A little bit closer.
Okay.
There we go. That's perfect. A little bit closer.
Okay, so anyway, the reason why we're just showing my icon anyway is because it takes too much bandwidth to send a picture out, and it also runs my battery down on my phone faster.
But it makes for a much more interesting video.
Yeah. What do you want, Rust? The cat.
So earlier we were talking about, how
Don't you dare, cat! He's thinking about stepping on my screen. My cat is heavy as hell. I think he wants to go out, and my cat wants to eat, I think. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. Let me put back into the board here. I had to put some food in the dish for Fat Ass, as he was hungry. He didn't really eat much. So I'm gonna plug in the cord here. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm back now. I just had to feed Fat Ass. All right. How can I hold this phone up, Michelle? Oh, that's a problem. Yeah, I know what the problem is. Can you get the stand?
So the subject we were talking about, Michelle.
Hold on a minute. This could get a little dicey, because I can use my ivory crease stand to hold the phone. Have to put it sideways though. Right. Alright, so let me see if I can do this without potentially knocking everybody offline here. Ain't gonna happen. Look. Flip it the other way.
Oh shit.
Alright. Alright, let's see if I can. Nope, that ain't gonna work. Yes, it will. But like this. Don't push any buttons though. Oh man, it's gonna be a tight squeeze. Alright. Alright, now you can see me.
So the subject that we were on before we got derailed was about what it felt like to go from such a high where you had over 100 people in one live stream. The chat was moving faster than anything you could see. You're on your way to become a true paid YouTuber, to suddenly lose it all in a matter of a couple of days due to some unfortunate actions that aren't entirely your fault. How did that feel?
Excuse me? I didn't quite get all that. Oh, you said about the highway to hell.
Yes. to hell. That is not what I said. I said, how did it feel to go from such a high point where you had over 100 people in your live stream?
Yeah.
You know, if you had gotten to that point where you could have paid live streams, you could have made a ton of money off of it. To pretty much losing that entire viewer base over the course of 74, 78 hours. And not entirely it being your fault, because, Ed played a huge hand in making you lose that viewer base. And Rhonda did as well. She also helped you lose all those viewers. So in hindsight, how does it feel looking back on it? I just can't imagine all from grace.
Well, given the new AdSense policy, and the fact is that we do not have the 1,000 users, and we don't have...
Hello.
What the hell's
right? That? And had you known at that time that that's what was going to happen, I honestly believe that if that hadn't happened that day, if that live stream had gone differently, if Rhonda hadn't blocked everybody and had Ed not come on and chewed everyone out and had another rant, I do believe you'd probably be over 1,000 subscribers at this point, and you'd probably be getting paid quite well.
Well, here's the thing. They're not blocked. Those people were not blocked anywhere. Nobody's blocked.
Well, they don't know that. When they went back to comment on your next video, I remember it quite well.
But the only problem is,
the only problem is, had 80 comments for it.
The only problem is that we're not going to be able to take any phone calls until the mixer comes back from the shop. So it's really, I don't really know if we're going to be doing a live stream next week, because it's really kind of hard to do a live stream when you can't even take phone calls. You can just take chats and that's it. And then that works out fine too. But the problem was
talking about Michelle.
What's
Michelle,
that?
That's off subject. That's not the subject we're talking about.
Okay.
The subject we're talking about, I just want like a pretty basic answer of how it felt to basically have your future right in front of you. Okay, it had that day not gone the way it had, clearly your current career in YouTube would be quite different. You'd be making money. You'd have a positive fan base. How did it feel? An ex-lover like Ed and a best friend like Rhonda, how does that feel?
You mean the fact is that I never quite hit the first $100?
You must have some opinion on it. It must have made you feel some way, whether it be good or bad.
Well, here's the thing. If I hadn't, we talked about this a lot, and I know some of my audience are probably going to go, oh God, not again. Well, anyway, I'm going to bring this up again because I'm going to make it simple. Even though I never got the first $100 to get a check from AdSense, just to know that I was bringing home, at least in theory, like $20 a month, would have been nice to kept the $20 a month. But the problem is that I was so overwhelmed with all the things going on in the channel, with all the people, that I just really had a hard time keeping up with it all. And that's something that's a fact, is that it's easy to get lost when you have to deal with all those people at one time, and if that makes any sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. So do you feel maybe you're not cut out to have a large viewer base? Do you feel like maybe that's too much for you?
Well, I mean, I can easily handle 5 to 10 chats, but then again, don't forget, they're all going to want their answers. And since, of course, I'm responding by speech, it takes anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds before they see my responses. And while that's going on, of course, they're all sending, other people are asking questions all at the same time, and they're scrolling off my screen. So it's really hard for me to read them all.
Yes.
And that's I think that's the reason why I was getting a little bit overwhelmed by the whole thing.
Do you know what a susho? Are you familiar with a super chat?
That's not available for me because I don't have 1,000 subscribers.
saying, had that live stream had it not gone the way it had, where everybody got blanket banned, pretty much enraged 99% of the audience at that point. Had that not gone that way, I do believe by this time right now you'd probably have 1,000 subscribers.
I had for a while. I had a donation button for a while on my chat, which is nice.
The more people that you have, the more that. So, but are you familiar with this?
What's it?
Do you understand how a super chat works?
No, not exactly, as I don't have it, so I really don't know how a super chat works.
Well, if you'd like, a super chat is relatively simple. It's just like a normal live stream, except for what happens is it gives viewers the option to press a button that sends real money, legitimate money that you get to keep.
Right.
And what they get to do is they get to sponsor their message, so their message stays up on the board longer than other people who don't pay money's message. And I've seen people with a few hundred viewers get, $300-400 in just an hour live streaming. And I thought, wow, that'd be perfect.
I know. I've seen it on Louis Rossman's channel. He uses super chat on his channel when he streams to YouTube, and he also has it set also to restream simultaneously with Twitch. But I don't know how the super chat works. Because I don't have the minimum requirement of 1,000 subscribers to use it.
What?
And you have to have 1,000 subscribers just so you can get the ability to make money. And it sounds like super chat is not a free program. It sounds like it's an add-on you have to pay for separately.
No, that's not true. Yeah, I mean, you do. I'm sure you do give out a percentage of your super chat earnings, but you don't pay a monthly subscription to have super chat.
Okay.
Even if you did, I mean, the fact that you can make $400 in an hour, and that's just a lot, is incredible. Imagine if you were making